السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الذي لا إله سواه، والحمد لله، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا محمد رسول الله وآله وأصحابه ومن والاه. اللهم تقبل منا صيامنا وقيامنا، اللهم وفقنا لإتمام صيام وقيام شهر رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه، فافتح ربنا مسامعنا لذكرك. Ya Allah, help us be of those who listen to the words of admonition and follow the best of them, and therefore please open the hearing channels of our hearts to your dhikr, to that which reminds us of you. In the context of last night's conversation about what, who remembers? What were we talking about? Okay. What was the last thing we were talking about? We spoke of all of those. What are the last things? The last thing we were discussing, and I'm going to finish to talk more about tonight, today? No? That we discussed before. How many points did we mention of those characteristics? 3 of them, right? Well, actually, it was more than 3. It was 5. What was the last one? فما أوتيتم من شيء فمتاع الحياة الدنيا وما عند الله خير وأبقى للذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون والذين يجتنبون كبائر الإثم والفواحش وإذا غضبوا هم يغفرون. That's what we were talking about last. وإذا غضبوا وإذا ما غضبوا هم يغفرون. That is, as Allah Azza wa Jal describes the character of those who will not look at this world as everything, but look at this world with the right lens, a transient world that it is. And Akhirah is the enduring, everlasting world that it is. Those who will be able to look at dunya in this way always have these following characteristics. آمنوا, and we spoke about that. توكلوا, وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. And then يجتنبون, keep away from major violations, major aggressions. كبائر الإثم, they keep away from al-fawahish, excesses in general, and in particular promiscuous excesses, sexual promiscuity. We mentioned a few things about that. And then finally he mentions subhanahu wa ta'ala وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُوا هُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ. And when they are angry or they are angered, they pardon, they forgive. And that's where we were at, and we mentioned a few things. And certainly the character, the khuluq of forgiveness, when we are able to inflict pain or harm, or when we are able to do justice, which would sometimes imply pain to the other, as the other had inflicted pain to start with, and when we are able to do justice, it is very, very unusual usually, and difficult to forgive and to pardon. And that we mentioned things that start where it starts at home, between spouses getting angry. Do they forgive? Do you forgive? When you were 100% right and she was 100% wrong, do you forgive? And vice versa. Assume sometimes she was 100% right and you were 100% wrong. Does she forgive? And at home and with the children and at work with your colleagues or with your employees, in the masjid, between people, in the street, unexpectedly, especially when it is unexpected. Are we in the attitude, are we in the subhanAllah, composure? Do we have the spiritual composure and the tawheedi composure and the imani composure to respond with nobility and forgive when we are able, especially, to reciprocate the same harm or more, or to do at least justice? And we mentioned that Sayyiduna Mawlana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never vindicted himself. Never, when he was done wrong to harm personally, never did he, take justice for himself, let alone harm others. من تقم لنفسه صلى الله عليه وسلم قط إلا أن تنتهك حرمات الله سبحانه وتعالى. Never did he صلى الله عليه وسلم take revenge or did justice to himself for his own personal right when others have violated that. And that which we call personal right, sometimes many people probably would call collective right. Because when you try to kill a Rasulullah, that's not just a personal matter. That's a deen matter, that's an ummah matter. But even in that matter, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he forgives. I hope that some of you know through the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam how many examples in his life of people who attempted to treacherously assassinate him and kill him. And he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he had the upper hand and they were in front of him and he was in control, he forgave, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One time, he was in an expedition. This is when he was in Medina, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And in that expedition, they were out in the desert, and they stopped to rest for a while. And imagine, and there were many, and they spread all over. And he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, was alone under a tree, resting. And suddenly, somebody came, well known, his name was Awrath ibn al-Harith, and sent as an assassin to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam by the pagans, from the pagans. And he did not feel anything until the sword, the tip of the sword of this man was held at the throat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who was laying down in accordance with the text. And then the man wanted to enjoy that moment, wal-'iyadhu billah, and he said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Muhammad, man yamna'uka minni? O Muhammad, who shall save you from me now? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, an ocean of tawheed, an ocean of tawakkul, an ocean of peace inside. His response was, Allah! And the sword falls from the hand of the man. He picks it, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he was a strong man, also when it comes to physically, and he has the sword, he holds the sword in one narration at the throat of the other man, and said to him, Man yamna'uka minni now? Who shall save you from me now? The man said, Ya Muhammad, kun khayra akhidh, kun khayra akhidh. I translate that almost literally in our American language, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, take it easy. Really, kun khayra akhidh. In other words, be one who takes it very well. So take it easy. Subhanallah. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says to him, Aslim. Be a Muslim. He says, no. But I can promise you one thing. I will never deliberately again fight against you. And the companions came, and he told them what happened, and he said to him, go, you are free. Go, you are free. وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُوا هُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. And the examples are too numerous in his life, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and in the lives of those who took him truly and sincerely as their best example to emulate. If we had time, some other time perhaps, some of the companions and later those whose lives, as I said, were simply projecting the values of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, the great Salah ad-Din, when he reconquered Jerusalem from the Crusaders, who did the most incredible and the most atrocious of massacres and of bloodthirsty actions of killing children, women, man, animals in ways that are barbaric, merciless, especially when they took over Jerusalem in around, I think it was 1096. And then when he reconquered that about less than a century later, it was absolutely the opposite. Absolute opposite. Incredible things. You know? To the extent, I can tell you this part, to the extent when he was, rahimahullah ta'ala, besieging Jerusalem, and he insisted, first of all, he wanted to reconquer Jerusalem peacefully, without bloodshed, despite what they have done in conquering it, and despite what they have done after that. He insisted, he wanted to reconquer Jerusalem without bloodshed. As Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu ta'ala did when he conquered Jerusalem and took it from the hands of the Romans at that time. And he was besieging it and waiting and giving them ultimatum and waiting and hoping and hoping. In that part of that history, one very famous, they call him king or lord of the, of the Crusaders. I think his name was Balin of Ibelin. He was a prince, sort of, and he was in a different city away from Jerusalem. And his wife, of a apparently a special aristocratic noble family, was in Jerusalem. And then the siege took place, and look what happened. He writes to Salah ad-Din and asks him for permission to enter Jerusalem, to fetch his wife, and to leave. And he promised he will not fight. And he will leave, take his wife and leave. Imagine, Salah ad-Din says, yes, you go ahead. He goes in to fetch his wife, and he was famous and a prince and a warrior. So the people there, the Crusaders, the Christians there, insisted that it is his duty to God and to everybody to stay, to lead the fight against Salah ad-Din. He said first, no, I promised the man I leave. I promised him not to fight. They said, you cannot do that. You cannot leave. You're the only one who can truly lead us. He says, and this man was somehow noble. He had some character among those Crusaders. He said, no, I have to seek permission from Salah ad-Din. I cannot break my word. It's noble. Imagine that. I seek permission to fight him. So he did. And you know what the response of Salah ad-Din was? Rahimahullah ta'ala. He says, so be it. If your noble duty requires that from you, I allow you. What is this? That's Islam. That's the Islam. He said, so be it. And not only that, but he, rahimahullah ta'ala, assigned a special escort of Muslim warriors, mujahideen, to take his wife to, the city was up north, I forgot the name of it, and to escort her to arrive safely where she wanted, where he wanted to take her. And the story goes on. I said we don't have time to go through all of that. These are in the annals of history. This is written in history, and even by non-Muslim Christian historians. Ihsan. Part of ihsan, of course, the practical aspect of ihsan, as it is said that in some words Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam describes it, and beautiful khuluq. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, first he says, أن تعفو عمن خلقك أن تعفو عمن ظلمك وتصل من قطعك وتعطي من منعك. The practical consequence of ihsan, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he said is next, is that you forgive the one who does wrong to you. And ta'fu amman zalamak, that you pardon the one who oppresses you, who does wrong to you personally. And ta'fu amman zalamak. Wa an tasila man qata'ak, and to connect the ties with those who sever their ties with you. Is this easy? Try it. Allahu Akbar. وَأَن تَصِلَ مَنْ قَطَعَكَ, to connect the ties with those who sever their ties with you. وَأَن تُعْطِيَ مَنْ مَنَعَكَ, and to give those who withhold from you. Usually, we don't even give those who give us. We don't even say, Jazakallah khair, or thank you. Let alone give those who deliberately, voluntarily, willfully, by choice, choose to withhold from you. Give them. La ilaha illallah. وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُوا هُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ, says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The character of husn al-khuluq, the character of ihsan. When we are angry especially, it's even much more difficult to do that. And yet, that's exactly what he did, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in so many examples of his life. Allah continues in this ayat. وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُوا هُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ. And then he said, وَالَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَالَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Now this part here. وَالَّذِينَ اسْتَجَابُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ, and those who respond positively to their Lord. Istajabu. Labbaik ya Allah. Whatever Allah says, whatever Allah orders, whatever Allah requests, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recommends, like these ayat that came before, they are the first ones to respond. These are the people for whom this world, remember this is the beginning of all of that, was this concept. These are the people for whom this world is transient. for whom this world is simply a journey, a field to arrive home, to Akhirah. They don't look at this world and all the ornaments of this world and the power of this world and the prestige of this world and the wealth of this world and the competitiveness for this world in this world. They look at all of that simply as transient. The destination is home, is Akhirah. So they don't behave in this dunya in ways as though there is no Akhirah, as though we're going to stay here forever. I mean, to forgive in that way, subhanallah, and to give up and to stay away from so many attractions which are subtly very dangerous to us morally, spiritually, and as we mentioned in the case of sexual promiscuity, even health-wise and physically and economically and financially. These are destructive things even in this world, physically, let alone spiritually and morally. To make that choice in front of the attractive delusions, attractive, dangerous, attractive delusions of this world, you've got to be very special. استجابوا لربهم. They say yes to their Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. In whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam orders them or recommends them. May Allah help us be of them. May Allah help us be of them. الذين استجابوا لربهم. Second, first of all, always very importantly, وأقاموا الصلاة. وأقاموا الصلاة. And we spoke about that, somehow in a few days, a few nights ago, as you know, when we spoke about khushu' and salah. وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةِ. Salah is the most important practical aspect in their lives after La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And therefore, they strive to make their salah quality salah. So by the way, أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةِ should not be translated as they do salah. Did you do your salah? No. هل أقمت الصلاة. أقمت الصلاة from أقامة, which means to set something straight and solid. أقمتها, and I make it stand solid and enduring and strong. So أقمت الصلاة is not just I did salah. أقمت الصلاة. Perhaps some word is like established. I established my salah. So when I'm established in my salah, spiritually, not only time-wise, I am established in that salah. My heart and my mind is in that salah. وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةِ. Thirdly, وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ. And their matter, he says, is done in consultation amongst themselves. وَأَمْرُهُمْ, and their matter is shura amongst them. Consultation. They don't make especially serious decisions and major decisions individually without seeking the advice and the counsel of those who are worthy of counseling and those who have good counsel. They do not ignore the wisdom of their society, the wisdom of their people, the wisdom of their scholars, the wisdom of their saints, the wisdom of their experts. Shura bainahum. They don't make decisions without proper consultation. Subhanallah. It's very interesting. This is part of those who do not seek this world for this world, but for Akhirah. Part of their characteristic is they are consultative, if you will. They consult before they make especially serious decisions. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to teach that though he was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not need that or he did not have to do that, and yet he often sought the opinion of the companions around him, radiallahu ta'ala anhum wa arwahum. وأمرهم شورى بينهم ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Another quality that is sometimes very special and very rare and unique is that they spend from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, bestowed upon them. مما رزقناهم ينفقون. Remember, note again here He says رزقناهم. He didn't say and they spent from that which they earned. He didn't say they spent from that which they earned. You remember what we said about these things? Because He's reminding them, He's reminding us, what you earn is His. Your ability to earn is His. Is a gift from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He said, of that which we gave them, bestowed upon them, gifted them, they spend. You know, He doesn't mention anything of the means to acquire that. Because the means to acquire and what we acquire and ourselves are all gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He reminds us of that reality, Azza wa Jal. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. And He continues, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and comes back again and says, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَهُمُ الْبَغْيُ هُمْ يَنْتَصِرُونَ وَجَزَاءُ سَيِّئَةٍ سَيِّئَةٌ مِثْلُهَا فَمَنْ عَفَا وَأَصْلَحَ فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الظَّالِمِينَ. He says after this, look, when we spoke about وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُهُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ, he spoke of the level of إحسان. شكرا. He spoke of the level of إحسان. Now he's going to speak about the level of fairness and justice. So he says, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَهُمُ الْبَغْيُ هُمْ يَنْتَصِرُونَ. And those who are, and they are of those who, when transgressed against, they defend themselves. يَنْتَصِرُونَ. They rid themselves from that aggression. They ward off that aggression. يَنْتَصِرُونَ. Intasara means to be victorious, to win. In other words, يَنْتَصِرُونَ, seek to win, seek to ward off aggression. And that's justice. At any level, if somebody frowns in your face, if you want to do justice, if wisdom requires that, I underline this part, you can frown in the same way at them. If a person says to you, you deadhead, if you want justice, and you insist, and if wisdom requires, you can say, you deadhead. This is justice. And you can go on. And you can go on. وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبْ وَإِذَا أَصَابَهُمُ الْبَغْيُ هُمْ يَنْتَصِرُونَ. And so on. But this is risky. Because generally we are not very moderate and very balanced. If someone says a word to you, usually you answer with 6 words. And if you answer 6 words, then now who is the wrongdoer? You are the wrongdoer. From Maghroui you become a zalim. From a Maghroui with Allah, then you become a zalim. From an oppressed, or one who has done injustice to, you become now the oppressor and the unjust. So he says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَجَزَاءُ سَيِّئَةٍ سَيِّئَةٌ مِثْلُهَا. And he says, and the award of a sayyi'ah, and you all know what the word sayyi'ah, right? Sayyi'ah, something bad. سَيِّئَةٌ مِثْلُهَا. A thing that is bad in the same way as the first one. What is interesting here? When somebody does injustice to you and initiates harm, that is truly sayyi'. That is سيئة. But how could it be when you respond justly, that is called also سيئة? Allah calls the reciprocation of harm justly, He still calls it سيئة. As the commentators notice, the ulama. وَجَزَاءُ سَيِّئَةٍ سَيِّئَةٌ مِثْلُهَا. Like it, equal to it, but He still calls it سيئة. And therefore indicating that it is better not to do that. That's why He says, وَمَنْ عَفَى وَأَصْلَحَ فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. And therefore He says, as to the one who pardons instead of reciprocating equally, the one who pardons and rectifies, his reward is with Allah, is upon Allah Azza wa Jal. And this means He didn't specify what the reward is. It is left up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when Allah rewards, He is the infinite source of bounty subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ عَفَى وَأَصْلَحَ فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. In all matters, may Allah help us be that way. May Allah give us the spiritual and moral and physical and mental strength to be one who pardons and forgives. And I remind you and myself, it starts where first? Say it. Home. It starts at home. Can you pardon? Can I pardon? Can we pardon at home? Can you pardon your wife when and if she's wrong in the Shari'i sense? And we hope that she recognizes that she's wrong. Does she forgive you when you are wrong, and assuming you are wrong in the Shari'i sense and you acknowledge that you are wrong in the Shari'i sense? Does she forgive? That's where it starts. If we can't do it at home, we cannot do it anywhere else. If you can't do it at home, you can't do it anywhere else. And the challenge at home is much more difficult than the challenge outside, when you are subjected at home to what we perceive as pain. Because pain coming from a close one to you is harsher and harder than pain coming from a stranger to you, as it is said in wisdom. And therefore the field of home is a field of training for most beautiful character in the field of life, for the grander questions in life. نسأل الله العلي القدير أن يجعلني وإياكم من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. Ya Allah, please help me be and you of those who listen to the word of admonition and follow the best of them. If Allah will, we will continue inshallah ta'ala tomorrow. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله